There's a lot of material that's been published for the current edition of D&D. And if you include all the previous editions, there's like a literal mountain of D&D material. But is any of this older stuff of any use to a DM playing the current version? I'm going to start reviewing products made for older versions, especially with an eye towards reusability for the current DM. This time, we are looking at the Dungeon Master's Design Kit, and we are starting right now. Welcome to the Dungeon Master's Apprentice, and I'm your friendly neighborhood Dungeon Master. Here at the Dungeon Master's Apprentice, we work on creating The Cursed, my unique homebrew campaign world, and we also talk about having a great gaming session at the table. The Dungeon Master's Design Kit. Just the name evokes a great anticipation, or at least it did for me back when it was first released. But the few reviews I have been able to find were lukewarm at best, and kind of quickly faded from view. Most current players probably only recognize the cover image because so many YouTube videos use it. Ken Ralston reviewed the Dungeon Master's Design Kit in the July 1991 issue of Dragon Magazine. He largely panned the design kit, saying it was only for new DMs and that it was just fill-in-the-blank forms and that only exceptionally organized and compulsive DMs who love forms and summary sheets would like the product. But reading some of his other reviews, Ken seems to be a very condescending reviewer with a bit of elitist attitude. That being said, what is the Dungeon Master's Design Kit, and is it useful for you? Well, the kit consists of 3 parts: the Adventure Design Booklet, the Forms Booklet, and the Adventure Cookbook booklet. Essentially, the first booklet, the Adventure Design Booklet, is a field-by-field explanation of the Forms Booklet. The second booklet, the Forms Booklet, has 2 copies of each form, one blank and one filled out with an example adventure. The third booklet, the Adventure Cookbook booklet, walks you through the process of using the forms to create an adventure. Not every form was used in the example adventure, so there's no filled-in versions of the adventure map form and the treasures form. I would have to say that the biggest failing of this product was its focus on adventure creation. Now, I expected it to be a campaign design kit, but I liked the forms. Not for the pedantic use that Ken suggested in his review, but as an excellent way to organize my designs. To overcome what I saw as the failings of the original forms, I've over the years converted the original forms to PDF, and I've created many additional forms in the same style for campaign creation. Mention a new city in a game, flip to the cities and village form and write down the name and a short description. Too busy during play? Just jot down a quick note somewhere and add it to the form later. Some of the other forms I created are the Hex Campaign Map form, the Local Hex Map form, the Hex Detail form for hex crawls. Watch my video for more information on how to add a hex crawl to your adventures. A country profile form, and many more. The best use of these forms is for organizing your designs, capturing your thoughts in an organized way, and a centralized location to place things, like new NPCs in the major NPCs form, or new businesses in the city business directory form. And one of the things I really like about the product, it's the forms really. The whole thing about the product is the forms. And if you have copies of these forms and you have them in a 3-ring binder, you can always flip to somewhere and write down your ideas, because that's what it's for, is to organize your thoughts, organize your ideas. And that's where the power lies. You can take notes in a book all day long if you want, but when it comes time to organize and formalize them into adventures and campaigns, you're reading a lot of notes because they haven't been segregated into the places where they belong. Yes, you can do it on the computer, you can use OneNote, but you know what? Sometimes it's easier just to write something down. And it's easier to find something in paper. You can flip through pages a lot faster than you can flip through pages on your phone or on the computer. So I really like the product, or at least I like the potential for the product, and how I have expanded it for campaigns instead of just adventures. I also like having them in PDF format because, unlike the original forms, which were printed on, of course, black ink on white paper, if you photocopied them, the black, it's hard to write and see your ink unless you use a blue. Whereas with a PDF, you can select certain fields, you can make them gray, you can make them a light blue. It allows you to be more visual and allows you to use it in a more natural way. So, having said all that, I would say that if you can buy a copy for a decent price, go ahead. But you're only buying it for the first and third booklets, plus the filled out versions of the forms with the included adventure. If you just want the forms, and I definitely think you do, the price is probably too high. If there's enough interest, I can make my versions available to everyone for download, so leave a comment below. I hope you come back for the next installments, where I continue fleshing out my campaign world and discuss other dungeon mastery related topics. If you are enjoying this journey with me, then please consider subscribing to this channel. If you do, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified every time new content is posted. Until then, adventure on.